They may put up a fight, or they may go meekly. Frankly, the latter seems more likely, but I'm afraid there just isn't enough evidence from the past 18 months or so to see us somehow put up a performance in Germany to bring back a semi-final spot. I'm desperate to think that we could. In fact, a big part of me is saying we won't, so that I reverse jinx it and you're all able to tell me tomorrow that I know nothing about ball, but I just can't see us keeping a clean sheet. I can't see us standing up to the pressure of a raucous crowd, and even if we somehow manage to take it to extra time and penalties, I can't see us winning under the gun then either. But tell me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments if you think this will be one of the great glory nights of Tottenham Hotspur's history. I'm desperate to be proven wrong, but I fear, abject fear, that I won't be, and that by this time tomorrow, Ange Postecoglou will have been sacked by Daniel Levy. I'll be discussing all of this, the team news for tonight's game, and all of the other Spurs stories, including some transfer talk in today's daily Tottenham Hotspur news. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please do give this video a like if you haven't already, and come over to the audio podcast platforms, be that Spotify or Apple Podcast. Go and give me a subscribe or a follow and a review there. Just type in the Spurred On podcast. But let's get started. And a little bit of transfer talk that's come out this week that I think could well be a leak working in reverse. That being that Tottenham are apparently very interested in none other than Eintracht Frankfurt's Hugo Ekiteke this summer. He is the player who scored that magnificent goal against us in the first leg. Frankfurt apparently looking for £86 million, which I think it's fair to say we all know Tottenham will not spend. Maybe it's just the club trying to get agents to get some interest in him before this game to try and get him thinking about it. Personally, if that is the case, I think you're going about it the wrong way. That's the wrong strategy, because that'll just only make him play better, I would have thought, like he did in the first leg with that good goal. I have to say, when talking about amounts of money for transfers like £86 million, as much as I hate to talk about them lot from South London, last night, for the second leg, as well as the first leg, in fact, against Real Madrid, Declan Rice put in such an unbelievable performance. And I have to say, that shows what you get when you are willing to break the bank to get absolute class, box-fresh, oven-ready players who are going to improve your first team. You have to pay over the odds, and they really prove they can take you to another level. And that is something that Tottenham need to start getting to. We need to start getting to the place where we are willing to spend that kind of money on players, but it looks like we're getting further away from that at the moment. And the fact that we're likely to finish 17th in the league, and that means we'll probably earn, 30, 40 million pounds less through the league than we would if we finished 5th like last season. Not to mention the riches from the Champions League not coming our way, assuming we don't win the Europa League. I really do fear that we're going to start having to fish in the transfer waters of the likes of Everton and teams in the bottom half of the table. More news coming out that Tottenham are showing strong interest in Brentford's Thomas Frank should we decide to part ways with Ange Postecoglou. Sources suggest Frank could leave Brentford this summer. How do you feel about Thomas Frank? To be honest, slightly underwhelming for me. I do feel like whichever manager we're linked with, especially if it's those kind of, 8th to 14th placed Premier League managers with Premier League experience, like the ones we're linked with, Frank, Silva, Iraola, who I think is doing better, there will be some corner of the fan base who suggests it's the wrong person. Nobody's going to agree on everything. I just don't think that's going to happen. We've gone through so many managers, so many different types of managers, win now managers, future managers, managers who've managed in the Premier League, who've only managed in Scotland and Japan and Australia. So no one's going to agree on everything, but I have to say I would still go Iraola over Frank. I know a lot of people talk about Iraola's kind of chaos ball, but I've been really impressed with what Bournemouth have done, and they're not afraid to take it to the big teams either. Whereas Frank, for me, although yes, tactically he's very adaptable, and maybe he would play more football here than he does at Brentford, but I was just a little bit put off by the directness of Brentford's play when we played them a couple of times earlier this season. The Telegraph do say that Ange Postecoglou is getting closer and closer to the Tottenham sack, and as I said in my opening tonight, I honestly, genuinely, and let me know what you think if you think I'm being mad, but I honestly think Levy will pull the trigger on him tonight or first thing tomorrow morning if Tottenham lose in that Europa League Quarter Final. I just think that's realistic based on how Daniel Levy usually goes about doing things. And I just think now, with the injuries having cleared up, I think the only excuse that Ange Postecoglou has left to still be in his job is the Europa League, and once that's gone, I cannot see Levy sticking with it. Okay, speaking of which, Ange Postecoglou in yesterday's press conference was asked about the narrative over his future and and whether it's a personal burden. And of course, he came out fighting once again. Ange Postecoglou came out talking about how he doesn't care about what people think of him. He doesn't really, he's got a thick skin, which I personally think is a little bit contradictory to the way he has behaved recently in terms of being defensive in front of crowds and people at the games who are shouting at him, and always being a bit defensive to journalists. But he said this over his future and it being a burden. No, not at all, mate, because I don't define my career and me as a person by what people think about me. I never have, I never will. If you don't think I'm a good coach today, you won't think I'm a good coach tomorrow, even if we win, mate. One game isn't going to make a difference to that. You either think I'm capable of doing the job now, or you don't. That's where I sit with these things. If people think that us winning tomorrow, meaning tonight, all of a sudden makes me a better manager than what I am today, or us losing tomorrow somehow makes me a worse manager, I guess that's their burden, not mine. I don't think that way, and I don't think most people think that way. Or I'd like to think they don't, in terms of their own self-esteem or who they are as people. I couldn't care less, really. I couldn't care less. There's no burden on me. There's no anxiety on me. What I'm sitting here doing is thinking we've got a great opportunity to get to the final four of a major tournament. Mate, I'm not going to let that slip by without fighting tooth and nail for it, irrespective of what may come the day after. Now, listen. I love the fact that he's saying he's going to fight tooth and nail for it. I want him to put some of that man management and motivation into the players and get them fighting tooth and nail for it. But that means defensively as well as going forward. And that means plugging gaps and not giving away easy goals. The fear I have, and I'll be doing tonight's watch along over on Chris Cowlin's channel, so come and watch me do that on YouTube if you haven't done for most of these games. The fear I have is that once again I will watch Spurs concede a goal that I've watched us concede, I don't know, 20 times, 25, 30 times this season. And that is what you cannot continue to do. You know, it's like you can't say to Christian Romero or Vicario after the weekend, oh, it's okay that you made that individual error, just make it again and again and again. Like the crowd would be on them. So it's also not okay for the teams to make the same error at the same time over and over again tactically. It's naive. The opposition know how to counteract it. And it will end with Ange getting the sack, unless somehow Tottenham can put in an unbelievable performance in every single Europa League game left this season. Okay, Ange was asked, how does it feel to have everyone back, except, of course, for Son Heung-min, who it was revealed yesterday, surprisingly, that he is not available. I think Ange had made it seem before that Son would be back for this game, but he did say yesterday he has a knock and had been playing with it for a while, which is no surprise to me. I'd said, didn't I, after the last few games, that Son is so off it that he reminds me of Harry Kane back in the summer playing in the Euros, where it was so clear to me that he was playing with an injury. And now Son is properly injured and not available tonight. But Ange says this about the health of the squad. He said it's massively positive because you realise when you've got everyone together, we've got a really exciting young squad that I think we can build on. Irrespective of how the game goes, we've got opportunities to make impacts with substitutions and just that general feeling around the place. The other thing it does, apart from Sonny, obviously, which is really disappointing, everyone's excited. All the players are looking forward to it. We've had a lot of players who've had to train on their own, deal with the mental grind of trying to get themselves back in amongst the group, and that affects the general feeling around the place, because invariably there isn't the overwhelming feeling of everyone being in it together, because players have got their own individual battles to overcome. We've had more doing that than as a core group to solidify those things you need to in terms of team spirit. So just having the whole group together, the dynamics of training, the dynamics of the dressing room, even the dynamics when you travel, for the most part, everyone's got their best buddy with them. They're not back at home. It's a good feeling, and you miss it when you've had the kind of season we've had. I guess Kulusevski is now back, so that's part of it. Maybe Lucas Bergvall's got his best buddy back, and Kevin Danso is back training again and available, but he's only recently come in. So I would just kind of slightly rail against Ange saying, that response is if, this is the first time it's happened. No, we've had the players back fit mostly for like a month or 2 months now, Ange, and the Premier League results, I'm afraid, just haven't backed up what you're saying, which is that, it's all good when we've got the players back. I guess Mickey van der Ven has not really been playing in the Premier League, but he did play against Chelsea, and that didn't help. So let's see what happens. Ange was asked how important the senior players will be in the difficult atmosphere tonight against Frankfurt. He said, yeah, I think so, especially playing away in Europe. That's always a challenge. The experiences we've had this year have been good for that. We visited some tough places in terms of atmospheres: Galatasaray, Ibrox, AZ. A lot of our younger players got exposed to that, which will be helpful long term. But there's no doubt that come tomorrow, the experienced guys in the squad who've probably been through something similar will be hugely important for us. And having the key ones, apart from Sonny, and feeling good in terms of conditioning is going to be important. Listen, it is going to be a tough atmosphere, and Spurs are going to need to show some strength that they haven't for a long time. Be interesting to see whether Eintracht Frankfurt on the pitch are kind of driven by that atmosphere to want to get hold of the ball more, to get in possession of the ball more. They won 3-0 at the weekend against a team lower than them. Hiddenheim, I think it was. It wasn't Hoffenheim, but someone who sounded a bit like them. But they still, at Frankfurt, only had 40% of the ball. So they are very comfortable not having the ball. And unfortunately, that does not, as we saw a lot of the time last week, it doesn't suit Spurs that well. We did make some chances from set pieces. Obviously, hit the bar from outside the box with Bergvall. We're going to need some more luck. We're going to need to be more clinical with the chances we do create. But the problem is, if you think about AZ away from home, if you think about Galatasaray away from home, if you think about Ibrox, Rangers away from home, as Ange just spoke about there, we did not make many chances at all. We were not really in the game. So it'll be interesting to see whether Frankfurt are happy to let us have the ball and then hit us on the transition, which won't necessarily suit us because they'll be in a deep block and we struggle to break them down. One thing I will say though, Son being injured, I don't think it's an appalling thing because I think we would have had to play him because he's the captain and he would have been playing with a knock and he would have been playing at that kind of half pace that he has been recently. So this is an opportunity now for Tell maybe to start on the left, or Odebear. I mean, to be honest, if Tell was on the left and Odebear was on the right, yes, not a lot of experience there. But in terms of the excitement and the vigour of youth, I wouldn't mind it. And it would enable us to have players who can create separation, do things different that will make the defenders wonder which way they're going to go, how it's going to work. But also, of course, there is the chance that Kulusevski could start. I mean, it is the last dance for Ange Postecoglou, so why wouldn't you start him as far as I'm concerned? Postecoglou, based on what I'm saying as well there, similar, relevant, was asked whether he knows if he'll be in charge of Spurs next season. He said, do I know? No, I've got no idea. We've got a game tonight. That's what is important. And it's a massive opportunity for this group of players, for us as a team, for this football club to get close to achieving what everyone wants to achieve. In terms of that Son injury, Ange said he's been struggling with his foot for a couple of weeks and has been in pain. Danso and Odebear, though, he confirmed, are available for selection. Okay, before I get into Mickey van der Ven's press conference that he did yesterday, guys, once again, please do give this video a like if you haven't already. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, daily Tottenham news and transfer news from the Premier League and across Europe in the summer, please do press that subscribe button, the little picture in the bottom right hand corner. Press that subscribe button for daily content. Okay, Mickey van der Ven was asked how he's feeling at the moment. He said, I'm feeling well. Every week you play a game. Teams that don't play Europe, they play like this. So you play on a weekend, have a week off, and then play on the weekend again. So to be honest, I feel good, I feel recovered, and I feel sharp. My God, are we going to need Mickey van der Ven tonight? I think he is the key possibility that we have in terms of winning tonight and going forward in the competition. He's that good. He, with the ball at his feet, is able to break the press with a well-timed and well-weighted pass, or using his muscle to break past the presser. And also, obviously, he can do those lung-busting runs as well. Also, he's improved in the air as far as I'm concerned. He just looks a more well-rounded player since he's been injured. I think he's just an absolute Rolls Royce. He was asked about the atmosphere. He says, I know it's going to be a good atmosphere. The last time I played here with Wolfsburg was also a tough game. The fans get behind the team. It's like a 12th man. But we should be fine. There'll be noise, but we need to focus on the pitch. That's the most important thing. It's going to be a good atmosphere, but we're ready for it. The key thing for me is, don't let that atmosphere get to you in the first 15 minutes. I know it's a cliche, but do not concede in the first 15 minutes and let that atmosphere get on top of you and let them get a second and a third goal. You have to dampen that atmosphere. You have to play smart, play calm. Do not give the ball away easily in midfield so they can break at us with one pass to Ekiteke like they did in that first 5 minutes of last week's game. We need to keep it tight. We need to make them worry about what it would be like conceding a goal to us. And we need to stay calm in the maelstrom of a very loud stadium. Mickey was asked about playing in every game and the importance of European football. He said, of course I want to play every game. Football is what you love the most. Every game you want to play. But yeah, Europa League is really important competition for this season. We have some Premier League games ahead of us, But if we want to win some silverware and qualify for Europe next season, then of course the Europa League is a really important stage for us. He was asked if the season hinges on it. He said, yeah, we have some Premier League games to game, but if we want to win the silverware, it's all about this. And he was asked whether he wanted to win for Ange, his feelings on the gaffer. He said, we all still have trust in the gaffer and still have trust in the way he's playing. So tomorrow we want to win the game, of course for him, but also for us, also for the club and for the fans. It hasn't been a good season, but it's a big game for us. And of course, we want to achieve something special this season. I think this is the best way to do it. Listen, I think he has to say that, but also I do think one of the only reasons Ange is still in the job is because he hasn't, in terms of parlance from back in the day of Mourinho or Nuno or Conte, he hasn't lost the dressing room. They're still playing for him. They still believe in it. One of the reasons they may still be playing for him is because they're all given so much freedom to kind of play attacking football, to try and get on the ball, and that's a positive. But there are also times where you need to kind of hunker down and find a way to keep clean sheets, and that's what we're going to need tonight. I really do think so. Van der Ven was asked about Ange's message to the players. He said that it's a big game for us, but also it's a game like every week. We have to play our best football. We have to play the way we want to play. We want to create as many chances as we did in the last game against them. Hopefully we can win this game and go to the next round. Of course, it wouldn't be a Mickey van der Ven interview if he wasn't asked about his fitness. He said, I'm feeling well. I've seen some people outside of the training ground, some specialists. They've been helping me with running and understanding my body a bit more. So I've learned some things from them. Like I said, I feel really good right now and ready to go. He was also asked about the longer term impact of his injury. He said, not really, don't think about it. I recovered well. Of course, I had some same injuries in the last couple of years, but I'm feeling well and I'm not really worried about something in terms of my future. I know I train and do everything to make my hamstrings as strong as possible and the rest of my body as well, so I don't really stress about something for my future in terms of my hamstrings. Listen, to be fair, looking for a positive, and I know this video hasn't been absolutely blessed with positives, but we have managed to get Mickey van der Ven fit to this game. And this is what I've been calling on Ange to do for the last couple of months. Wrap him in cotton wool and keep him fit for these kind of games. We drew the first leg with him. Obviously, like I said, we lost to Chelsea with him and Romero. But do I think Frankfurt are as good a team as Chelsea? I'm going to say I don't. I don't think they've got as many weapons and as many players in the squad who know how to beat Spurs as Chelsea. So there is a chance we could go there. There is a chance we could go there with Van der Ven and Romero and get the result we need. What I really want, what I'd love to see us do, is a performance like Newcastle gave in the Carabao Cup final against Liverpool. Liverpool are better than Frankfurt, but Newcastle showed physicality, they showed strength, and they didn't give Liverpool a moment. They didn't let them breathe, and that's what I feel like we really need to do tonight. Mickey was asked about proving something to the fans. He said, it hasn't been our best season and the fans want us to play better. They expect us to do better. Understatement. But also we want to prove to them that we have quality and ability. And when everybody is fit and the whole team is strong, we can achieve some beautiful things. Hopefully we can show this tomorrow, meaning tonight, to our own fans, but also to those that are doubting us. That is a mentality that I want the team to show on the pitch as well as off the pitch. Stick it to us, shove it down our throats, show us that we're wrong, show me that opening where I just can't see us winning is completely wrong. I would love to be proven wrong, and I will make video after video saying I'm wrong, I don't know ball. Ange is the man, he knows how to get us through in the important tournament. Van der Ven was asked about taking confidence from the second leg comeback against AZ. He said, also in the first leg against Frankfurt, we played a really good game. We created a lot of chances. We drew, but that gave us confidence. It showed us that we can play against this strong Frankfurt side. We have confidence for tonight, and we want to show what we did in the first leg and hopefully go through to the next round. He was also asked about leadership. He said, I want to help the guys like I always do. This is a very big game. It's the quarterfinal of a European competition. I want to go into every game in the same way and help the guys push towards the goal we want to reach. I want to see us with more leadership on the pitch, more shouting. Again, I'm sorry to hark back to that Champions League quarter-final last night, Madrid against Arsenal, but Arteta, as annoying as he is, he keeps going at them. He keeps explaining to them what to do. He keeps trying to be another man on the pitch, and we need leaders on and off the pitch. And the fact that Ange doesn't kind of shout and scream, I don't want him to shout and scream for the sake of it, but I want him to support the players. It just seems there have been too many clips where the whole kind of pitch of Spurs, especially when we go a goal down, just seems completely silent. And football is a huge game about noise, about helping one another by talking to each other, about communication. Van der Ven was asked about Vicario and Romero's reactions to their mistakes in the weekend game at Wolves. He said, I think making a mistake is normal. Of course, after the game they were sad. because they expect better from themselves. It can happen that you can make a mistake, and after the game, you can't accept that from yourself. If you look at them now, they're ready to go for the game against Frankfurt, and they're sharp as they normally are. And then finally, Van de Ven was asked about Frankfurt forward Hugo Ekiteke, who Tottenham, of course, rumoured to be interested in. He said he's a really good player and scored a great goal against us. You can see his quality. It's going to be me and the players playing next to me, our job to eliminate him from the game. He's an unbelievable threat for them, a really good player. We want to eliminate him tomorrow, meaning tonight, and get the win. Okay, just before I go into some final little bits of news, once again, please do give this video a like and press subscribe if you're not already a subscriber for daily Tottenham Hotspur news. Postecoglou was asked about Dominic Solanke being on a run of 11 games without a goal. In fact, some of the Spurs fan base are turning against Solanke, which for me is madness, because it's not like he's missing loads of chances. We just don't create him chances. In this system, we do not create the centre forward chances. And to be honest, Nathan from the Extra Inch podcast, and if you don't listen to that, make sure you do. It's brilliant, really good, more tactical podcast about Spurs. Nathan said from when Ange came in, it's not a system that really suits the number 9 in terms of goal scoring, and that is what's being proven. I think for me, Solanke, the amount of work he puts in, that is the most important thing. Not many strikers would put in the doggies that Dom Solanke does. It's endless. And Ange kind of alluded to it. He said, Dom has fought really hard for the team. He's going to be important for us against Frankfurt, and we're really looking forward to his contribution. Eintracht Frankfurt manager Dino Topmoller was asked about facing Spurs. He said, we can't wait for the match. We're really up for it. And former Leeds defender, Frankfurt centre-back Robin Koch was asked about the challenge of playing us. He said, we shouldn't expect that Spurs all of a sudden won't know how to play football because they are away from home. All right, guys, so with what is it? About 11 hours, just less than 11 hours until kickoff. Huge night for Tottenham. I would love to be sat here doing a video tomorrow saying I've been proven wrong and Spurs have shown they've still got the fight, still got the mettle, and we're being into a semi-final of a European competition. That is what I want. I'm desperate for it. I can't see it. I fear that tomorrow we'll be talking about new managers, but I'm desperate to be proven wrong. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Let's start a debate in the comments. Got 12 hours to talk about it all. Come on, you Spurs.